The most disrespectful shit in the world was San Bernardino thinking that it was cool to be 112 degrees yesterday. Like niggas ain't got lives or something. Like we ain't got shit to do. San Bernardino decided to be 112 degrees yesterday. With very little wind. Just dry heat. That's how I'm starting off this podcast. Yo, this is so fucking cool though, man. I've been trying to do this podcast for well over a year. Everybody that knows me knows that I've been talking about this for the longest. And just recently, some of the homies just hit me and just like, yo, like when you starting it. And I've been trying to like, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to creating content. And they were just basically saying, just start it. Just do it. And here I am, episode 0. Here I am, and here you are listening to me talk about nothing. I don't have an agenda at all for this episode. Like I said, this is the pilot episode, so I do want to keep this video very, 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 very quick. And just give you a little backstory on myself, why I decided to create this podcast in the first place. So, like I said, my name is Mike Sessions. I went to school at Cal State San Bernardino, graduated in 2013 with a degree in mass communications, TV and video production, minor in film studies. And I've been producing and creating content since like the age of 9 or 10 when I first started getting into computers with my Uncle Ray. And we used to just be on Photoshop and shit every day, just creating some weird stuff. I'm heavy into music. Everywhere I go, I'm always starting some type of music debate. That's just something that I really love to do. People know me as that. That's kind of like why I end up being called the music homie on social media. And this is so fucking dope, man. In 2016, I moved to San Diego to essentially kind of like start a new life and, get everything in order for me to get back to my roots. Because during college, during the second half of college, I kind of steered away from doing videos and making content. When I made Ashy Ass Knees that, went semi-viral in 2010, which is like 10 years to the date, really. I felt like I was in a more freer space when I made that. And then when I started to feel like, making videos and making content became like a job and I didn't really enjoy it anymore. And I started, just joining different things and being around different people. I felt like I kind of lost myself in that process. And, since then, it was hard to get back into it. I sold my camera in 2013. Shortly before I actually graduated, I sold my camera. I had a Canon EOS Rebel T2i. Sold it for like $200, like super cheap. And haven't really created too much since then, besides like maybe some DJ mixes. But here I am. This is something I really wanted to do. And I'm happy that, recently I've been on a journey of really getting back to finding myself and just being more grounded, having tough conversations with the people around me, being vulnerable. And this shit is like, it's tough. It is tough. It is so tough, man. But that's essentially, like I said, that's a pillar in why I'm creating this podcast. It allows me to kind of speak about things that, some folks may have had questions about before, some close people to me or even some of my friends and, some of their unique perspectives that they have on life. And I wanted to be able to kind of bridge the gap on just conversations and, whether people agree or disagree, everybody has a very unique lens that they look at life through because we all have different experiences. And, who's to say, that person's right, that person's wrong. I mean, it's all about interpretation. So I want to open up that that portal, I guess, to just speak on everything, and whether it's about music, whether it's about politics, whether it's about, just cultural shit that's happening. I want to talk about it all, but just so you know, we also going to get into a lot of fuck shit. So I have a lot of friends that are going to be coming on that we're probably going to talk about a lot of random ass experiences that we had together. So it's going to be hopefully funny in some points. But what I do want from this podcast is for it to always remain authentic to each person that's on it, authentic to myself as well. Some people have called me, I guess, very inconsistent in creating things, or just not even creating things, but just in general, like a very inconsistent person. So I've been working on that a lot lately, and that's something that having a podcast is going to challenge me to be a lot more consistent in doing things. So, one thing that having two kids, my son and my daughter, Elijah and Zion, has taught me more than anything is consistency. And just to be completely honest with you, when I had my first kid, dog, like, that was like probably the scariest shit in my life. Honest to God, that was the scariest thing in my life. Because, I didn't have a dad growing up, and my family in general, we didn't have a lot of, I guess, like, positive male role models. I mean, we always had, like, cousins and stuff like that we got along with, but it was a lot of women that pretty much, upheld our family. I have a lot of aunties. And so having a son, that's my first child, really kind of like threw me for a loop. And it was all a learning process through having him, and then having my daughter, who's the complete opposite of my son, and just the way their mannerisms are, has been just a learning experience for myself. And one thing I will say is that having kids is the ultimate mirror for yourself, because their worst habits is normally attributed to you and your worst habits, and also the best habits and all that. So you got to take everything together. You got to take the positive with the negatives, the bad and the good. And yeah, man, it's all part of the story, part of the moving forward and becoming more grounded. So I used to question a lot of things. I used to question why I'm here. To be completely transparent with you, the last maybe 6-7 years, like I've dealt with all different types of mental health issues, and the main thing being depression. But I think the last maybe 3 years, it was the toughest it's ever been. And I when I felt like I lost myself post college, that was one thing. But then, when I had my children in the manner that I had them, I really felt like I lost a total grip on my life. And, it's not their fault. And I love my kids to death, don't get me wrong. But it was just all a very necessary process for me to start caring about the things that matter and not putting too much focus into things that don't. And that's one thing I can appreciate about my kids. It's one thing I can appreciate about, their mom. One thing I can appreciate about my mom is that, we're all in this journey together, and we're all trying to figure out life. My mom had me when she just turned 18 years old. So I essentially grew up with my mom, as a single mom, and, we like a lot of the same things. And, even through maybe some of her traumatic experiences growing up, she's always been able to be grounded and teach me, you know, the ways of the world and not get too distracted, even though that's kind of like the route I end up being super distracted. And now I feel more than ever I've gotten a better grip on my life of where I want to go, at least. And yeah, man, I'm just hoping that this podcast can eventually maybe even inspire some other folks to really tap into the things that they want to do, the things that they love, and escape negative situations and kind of pull back and focus on the things that are important. And one thing I can say is the most important thing to me right now is my mental health, my children, and making sure that they are solid. You know, I want to make sure that their mom is always solid, whether we're together or not. That's still somebody that I'm going to always have to make sure it's good, you know, and that's you know, that would probably be a topic. And one of the later episodes, I do want to possibly have her on as a guest one day, if she's ever down. So, but yeah, man, right now I'm just, like I said, I don't got no damn agenda, man. Right now I'm just talking. And this is the pilot episode. Next week I do want to have one of the homies on for episode 1 and have, you know, some cool conversation. So, you know, if you want to ride with me and experience the journey with me together, we'll both be learning. So shit, let's do it, man. Welcome to the If I Let You Tell It podcast, and thank you for listening. We will be back. So please stay tuned. All right, peace.